The issue between Supreme Court and legislature and Supreme Court and executive is nothing new. And very recently, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has been examining a presidential reference. The term is very important, presidential reference, on whether timelines can be fixed for governors and president of the country in giving assent to state bills in the country or not. Which means whether timelines can be fixed for the governors of the states or the president of India while giving assent to a bill passed by the state legislature or not. And while this is going on, debates over Article 200 and Article 201 of our Constitution is ongoing. And all this is going on in Honorable Supreme Court of India. Now, without beating around the bush, let us try to understand the basics of this particular case and the background story surrounding it, alongside certain legal provisions. Hello, my name is Preetpal Singh, and you're watching Perspective. Now, as I've already told you, that Honorable Supreme Court of India is right now examining a very critical and crucial constitutional reference, a presidential reference, concerning the role of governors and the role of President of India in the legislative processes of the states. Which means, as you already know, that how a law is passed in a state. First, in the state legislature, it is passed with a majority, of course, depending on the type of law it is. After being passed by the state legislature, it goes to the governor, and governor has certain choices, whether to grant an assent, whether to not grant an assent, and so on. After assent to the governor, the state bill becomes a state law. Now, this has not been happening since the last many years in several of the states. And which is why the issue which is ongoing in the Supreme Court revolves around the issue that whether there should be a fixed timelines for the governor to give an assent, or should it be mandated for the governors and presidents in granting assent to the state bills or not. That is the whole issue all about. And the question is, why is this matter very significant? The matter is very significant because it might alter the entire center-state relationship if a judgment is passed in any of the favors. And which is why it is definitely going to have a very definite impact on India's federal structure, federal framework, and especially at a time when multiple states have accused governors multiple times, repeated times, that they have been stalling and stopping the legislative process of the states. And they have been delaying assent to the bills and thereby obstructing governance and lawmaking in the state. See, we all know one thing very clearly, that in a state, it's the executive and the legislature which is chosen by the people, which means people directly elect the legislature, and from the legislature we get the executive in a state. But governors on the basis of the recommendation of the cabinet. But this makes governors unelected heads of different states. But elected heads of the states are chief ministers, which is why there is a tussle now, that who should be given major responsibility in lawmaking. Of course, the answer is very clear. And Honorable Supreme Court of India has also reiterated multiple times that it is the elected head which is more responsible and should be given more powers. And sometimes in different occasions we say that governor is no more than a titular head. But still, governor can be used to withhold assent to certain bills or also to stall the legislative process and the lawmaking process of the state legislature. We'll see how. For that, we have to understand one article, that is Article 200. Now, Article 200 of Indian Constitution states very simple thing. It says when a bill is passed by the state legislature of any of the states in India, it is presented to the governor for assent. That is, governor has to give assent to that particular bill. Now, when the bill is presented to the governor is having four different choices. First obvious choice is to give assent to the bill. Second obvious choice is to withhold assent to the bill by giving a reason, right? Second choice is to reserve the bill for reconsideration of the president if the governor feels so. And the fourth one is to return the bill, if it's not a money bill, to return the bill with a message for reconsideration by the state legislature. Now, these are the four different alternatives which are available in the case of governor. But there is one more provision ahead of it, that if a bill is again passed by the same state legislature, that is, the same bill is passed by the state legislature, in that case, the governor is constitutionally bound to give assent. In that case, all the other options of the governor are over. But here, this is the case where the loophole is also present. That while the governor is constitutionally bound, after the state legislature passes the bill for the second time, governor is legally bound to give assent to it. But Constitution does not prescribe a time frame for it. In Constitution, it is not written that compulsory assent needs to be given in 1 month, in 2 months, in 3 months, in 1 year, 2 year, 5 year. It is not written at all. Which is why governors can also stall bills and do not give assent or do not work on the bill at all for 5 years. And no one is going to ask them a question. A time frame has not been mentioned in the Constitution. And because of this, it has led to a lot of controversies where governors have sat on the bills indefinitely. stalling the bills indefinitely and not passing them at all, which is why just putting them in their pockets, not taking any action on them at all, not withholding a cent, not giving a cent, and nothing at all. Also, similar to this circumstance, there is one more article, that is Article 201 of our Indian Constitution. Now, it governs the presidential assent to the bill when the bill is reserved for a president by the governor. See, I told you there are certain choices. One of the choice with the governor was that governor can give the bill to the president for president's consideration of the bill. Now, in this case as well, unfortunately, in Article 201 also, there is no exact time frame as to how much time frame in which president has to return the bill to the state legislature. Or bluntly speaking, there is actually no timeline for the president to act on the bill in our constitution, which also sometimes have led to in prolonged days, where several months no action has been taken on several state bills. Now, which is why the debate started, that because of the absence of timelines, it has become a major flashpoint between the center and state relations, because the governors are appointed by the center and states are run by the state government. So, which is why several states, especially Tamil Nadu, but not just Tamil Nadu, several other states like Kerala, Punjab, Telangana, and multiple other states have highlighted or have complained about the governors withholding assent or delaying assent to the bills, thus stalling legislative work in their particular states. See, those people who argue in favor of granting these timeframes, they say that not granting these timeframes and unnecessary delay done by the governors and the president of India, it basically violates the spirit of federal democracy in our country. Also, it violates the spirit of parliamentary democracy in our country, and it undermines the functioning of elected representatives of the public. Because I've already told you that governor is not elected by the public, but chief minister is elected by the public. Those who are in the legislature, MLAs are elected by the public, which is why there needs to be a time frame. That is one side of the argument. But other side of the argument, there are certain critics to this as well, who say that imposing stricter timeline or time frame can constrain the discretionary powers which are vested with the governor. And for a healthy constitutional democracy, there should be some discretionary power with the governor and the president. But this law or this rule, if it may come, it would undermine the discretionary power of the governor and which is vested in the president as well. And it might potentially upset and unscale the current delicate constitutional balance in the country. This is what critics have to argue about. So which means there are both sides of the argument, and both sides of the arguments are logic heavy. Now, since we know about the issue in hand, let us understand about the background of the case, that what actually happened. See, a few months back, when the government of Tamil Nadu approached the Honorable Supreme Court of India for this particular issue or this particular case, the Honorable Supreme Court of India, in the verdict and the judgment, gave a specific timeline for the governors and for the President of India as well. Which means timeline has already been issued by the Honorable Supreme Court of India for the governors and for the President of India as well. And which is why several bills which are lying for years and years were deemed to be assented to by the Honorable Supreme Court of India on behalf of the governor. Because the governors were sitting on those bills for months and months and years and years. And see, currently the issue which we are talking about is not in relation to the timeline, but about the presidential reference which has gone to the Supreme Court of India, which is why it has revived the issue even once more, where the President of India has issued a presidential reference and have asked for reference from the Supreme Court of India in this particular matter after disputes was filed by multiple states. And this presidential reference was given under Article 143 of our Indian Constitution. Now, if I have to give you certain case law examples, there are two specific cases. One was Shamsher Singh case versus State of Punjab 1974. One is Nabam Arabia versus Deputy Speaker, the case of 2016. In both of the cases, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has emphasized that a governor is bound by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, except in certain specific circumstances or exceptional circumstances. But in most of the circumstances, the governor is bound by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. That is not to be questioned to by anyone. As I've already told you multiple times, that Honorable Supreme Court of India has already prescribed the time limits, which is around 3 months for the governor and for the president to act on these particular bills. After that only, the President of India has come up with this presidential reference, where one more legal question have been asked by the President from the Honorable Supreme Court of India. And that case or that issue is currently being taken up by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. That is the actual whole issue. Now, last but not the least, what we need to understand is that how will it impact the federalism or central state relationship in the country? So we all know that our country is not completely federal. It's not completely federal as in it is not federal like US, where states are equally powerful as compared to center. India is completely, as we already know from our constitution, an indestructible union of destructible states. And this is alone sufficient to tell us that India is quasi-federal. It's not completely federal, it is quasi-federal. For example, in US, states have their own constitution, states have their own citizenship. So as the central government. But in India, that is not the case. In India, central government is the most powerful. State governments are powerful, yes, of course, because there are central, state and union concurrent list. But in concurrent list as well, if a law is made by the central government, that would supersede the law which is made by the state government. Which is why India's polity is quasi-federal. Now, keeping in mind that this particular case, where the Honorable Supreme Court of India has given the timelines, is having the ability to strengthen the legislative authority in the country. It is also having the ability to stop and prevent political deadlocks as well if the power is given to the state legislature, that's all. And from the governors, this power is taken away and time limit is given to the governor and the presidents. Also, it will be leading to judicial oversight on federal balance in the country as well. And this case particularly marks an important juncture, judicial intervention in clarifying ambiguities of the constitution that impacts center-state relationship. And further cases in this regard can also come up in front of Honorable Supreme Court of India, and they can play the role of solving the matters. And last but not the least, it would set a great precedent, and the ruling can influence multiple debates in the country, constitutional offices in the country, where a delay in decision-making affects governance. Because this example is a classic case of delay in decision-making by the case of governors or by the President of India, where they are not acting on the bills and they're actually making it a pocket veto and not acting on the bills of the state legislatures. Because functioning of state government is also very, very important. And without the process of legislature, without the process of lawmaking, that won't be conducted in a proficient and proper way. I hope you are able to make sense of it and you're able to understand the issue in its entirety. Do let me know what are your views surrounding this issue in the comment section. I'll be happy to read them. All the very best. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, everyone.